belts are worth the same. And LeBron James winning a title in Cleveland is easily worth 2 in Miami. Maybe more, maybe 3, maybe 4. One championship in Cleveland, I would suggest, means more to LeBron. Definitely means more to the city of Cleveland than the city of Miami. They're just simply not all the same. And there's 2 reasons for that. Relationships and ease of championship. LeBron, of course, we know, has a long-term relationship with Northeast Ohio. At this point, Kevin Durant has a long relationship with Oklahoma City. Not to the same depth of LeBron in Northeast Ohio, but still, a relationship nonetheless. One that could be like Kobe's relationship with LA, or Duncan's with San Antonio, or Dirk's with Dallas. Guys that, in Kobe's case, been 20 years with one franchise, and with Duncan and Dirk, soon to be 20 years. That kind of deep relationship means when you can win a championship, if you can, it has much, much more meaning. And second, the harder road is the better road. To toil, to suffer, to fail, ups and downs, that's when victory pays off. If there's a sense that you signed up for an easy championship, it diminishes it. And that's another reason LeBron's 2 in Miami simply aren't worth what 1 in Cleveland is. He teamed up with his buddies in a super team and they won, and bravo for them. I don't begrudge you wanting to play with your friends. But when you do that, it's just not the same as when you toil up and down forever with a team and eventually win. Going to Golden State would be the easy path for Durant. Stay in Oklahoma City. It'll mean more.
So you think that championships are elevated because it makes you feel better? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yes.
And you know this how?
This,
You see, here's the deal,
I got
Will.
like 9 belts. Today I got 3.
Here's the deal.
Just on the show.
Keep dreaming. Here's the deal, Will. There is no doubt that LeBron James' championship in Cleveland is the greatest feeling of his career. But let's not minimize Miami. First of all, you need to get to South Beach more. I'm quite sure your feelings will be just a touch different, just a touch. Secondly, and more importantly, let's also remember something here. That when LeBron went to Miami, the title had eluded him. His legacy was being tainted significantly. There was the loss to the Spurs in 07. Then he goes to Miami, and then the expectations of the Big Three and the celebration prior to when he first arrived there in that July. And then ultimately to get to the postseason and to have it evaded because you're Dallas Mavericks. And with Rick Carlisle and Dirk Nowitzki and the crew and J.J. Barea and those boys, and ultimately knocked him off, and LeBron James was as small as he had ever been in his professional career. Because that title eluded him when he finally beat Oklahoma City, that was a very significant thing. So even though it wasn't ideal and it didn't fit as great as Cleveland did this week and yesterday with that parade, he didn't know that yet. So winning that first championship, no matter where it came from, meant a great, great deal, because ultimately it felt good to be a champion. It felt great to be recognized as a champion, and more importantly, in today's day and age with Twitter, Facebook, and beyond, and all of the other stuff that comes with it, they were able to market themselves exponentially. And LeBron James, even though he was a global brand before, he became iconic, because when in 2008 they played in the Olympics and they all sat down with Kobe, Kobe let them know, look, the championship is it. Because when they went to Shanghai, you thought you would see all of these posters of Yao Ming. There were posters of Kobe, because he was the champion. And that's why they had a lot to do with him going to South Beach. So what I'm saying to you is that although I agree with you that Oklahoma City should be the place for him to be, it's for only one reason and one reason only. They are already a championship caliber team. Where the hell are you going? It's not that he would be wrong to leave, to go to Golden State or San Antonio or Miami or someplace else. It's that he would be wrong to depart from a championship contender when you are a superstar in this league, and there's no excuse, because if you're everything you're supposed to be, you should be enough to propel Oklahoma City to the title.
I think we agree.
That's different.
I think
we agree, but for different reasons is what I'm saying. That happens on the show sometimes.
I understand we're running out of time. 2 simple questions, okay? Are all championships worth the same value?
It depends.
On what? The individual winning them?
The individual winning them.
But you know they have different value to some people then.
To some.
Would it be easier if he left? To Golden State at least?
To Golden State it would be worse, but what if he went to Miami?
All right, well.
We gotta leave it there. More First Take.
Or New York.
After the break. Will, making us think.
You're watching First Take, presented by Bass Pro Shops.
MSG, it's becoming the Rose Garden. The Bulls traded Derrick Rose to the Knicks in a 5-player deal yesterday. The former MVP has missed nearly 40% of Chicago's games since tearing his ACL back in 2012. Welcome back into First Take. Will Kane now in the house, so I want to start with you, my friend. Good morning.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. A lot of people looking forward to this, to you putting me in my place.
I doubt that. I doubt that.
Oh, no, they are.
I doubt that. I do what I do. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's start with this. Is this the perfect move for the Knicks?
It's exactly perfect, Molly. Stephen A., this is a great move. Now, granted, it's a Hail Mary, but it's the kind of Hail Mary that Phil Jackson and the Knicks need to make. This is how you go from being a franchise with virtually no future to one with somewhat brighter prospects. Now, I want to say this. It's made for all the right reasons. It's the right decision, but that doesn't mean it's going to work out. We can't do this where we look back on it a year or two from now and go, well, you were wrong about Derrick Rose. I'm right today, and I'll be right 3 years from now, no matter what happens on the court. Here's why. I understand very well. Derrick Rose has a very checkered injury history. He's on the way back up. He shot poorly the first half, 35%, but after March, I think it was something like back up to 50%, where he was throughout his career before the injuries tallied up. So it could work out on the court. I understand. What is Derrick Rose? I think he has a 26, 27% usage rate on team plays, which is the highest of Carmelo's any teammate he's ever had. So I'm worried about what it looks like on the court. But that doesn't mean this is going to be a bad decision. This is still a perfect decision. And here's why. You have to look at the risk reward here. The risk is this. He signed up for Derrick Rose for 1 year. 1 year. $21 million. 1 year. If it doesn't work out, if all my initial hunches about the on-the-court are wrong, big deal. A year from now, you've cleared $14 million plus in cap space. You already have $30 million. Your real risk is Robin Lopez. Career, last year 17 PER. Basically Andrew Bogut. Basically maybe Marcus Camby. That's your risk. Robin Lopez. So worst case scenario, a year from now, you've increased your cap space. You can go get somebody that did work out. On the other hand, on the reward side, maybe, just maybe, you get the guy that was one-time MVP, the youngest MVP in league history. Clear risk-reward, brilliant move by Phil Jackson.
First of all, here's what I don't like about people like you.
Oh.
People like you, what I mean by people like you are people who are not Knicks fans, because you don't feel our pain. You don't feel our suffering. You have no sensitivity whatsoever to it. Are you from Texas?
That's right.
Yeah, see, that's the problem right there. That's one of the problems right there.
I live in New York now.
I don't care. You don't care. That's like Skip talking about he lived in Oklahoma City. Take your behind back to Oklahoma City. I don't care about that. It doesn't count. If you ain't from New York City, then you don't absorb and feel the pain that we have been enduring. So you're sitting up here giving me a whole bunch of numbers, PER numbers, acting like some analytics dude. That ain't what matters here. Let me tell you something, Will Kane. Here's the deal. Derrick Rose can play. Derrick Rose is no scrub. Derrick Rose, when healthy, is an all-star and probably better. But over a 4-year period in an NBA season, there's 321 games, 82 times 4. Derrick Rose has missed 201 of them. 201. Did he play 66 games last year? Sure he did. Did he only miss 16 games last year? Sure he did. But in the throes of playing those 66 games, periodically at one time or another, he alluded to his health. He alluded to making sure that he would be able to walk straight for his kids' graduation a decade from now. He talked about future contracts and all of this other stuff. That dog, that Rough Rider in him, is a question mark. Now, when we look at the Knicks, we've got Melo, who clearly has it in him. We brought Porzingis, who clearly seems to have it in him. But when you say great move by Phil Jackson, this is why you annoyed me. Because you're letting Phil off the hook. Let me say for the record to everybody out there, when it comes to Phil Jackson, you are getting paid $60 million to be the president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks. No one that I know of that's a president of basketball operations in the NBA is getting more than 10. This man is getting about 6 times more than the average person at his position. Kevin Durant is out there. I want a marquee name. I am in no way disagreeing with you, Will, when you say it is an upgrade. I am in no way disagreeing with you, Will, when you say it's not a bad move. What our problem,
I said great, just to be clear. Not great.
I know that. What my problem with you is, of course, it's great from the standpoint he's making $21.3 million. He's entering the last year of his contract. He's going to be inspired to go out there and perform, etc., etc. What I'm saying is, if you're Phil Jackson, the 11-time champion that is Phil Jackson, with the cachet that's so significant that James Dolan went out there and brought you on board, so you could take the pressure off of him because people were scheduled to boycott outside of Madison Square Garden before Indiana Pacers game that March. You brought Phil Jackson in there to take the heat off of you, and you brought Phil Jackson there because he was supposed to have the cachet to get more marquee names. I
Okay.
want my marquee name.
I have won this debate, and you don't even know it yet. You don't even know the traps you walked into.
Okay.
You're cornered. I'm going to unveil it for you right
Please,
now.
please, please.
Now,
I don't like laughing on first take. Please don't make me laugh.
Cornered, everybody.
Please don't make
If
me
you
laugh.
laugh, it's going to be a pain in about 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Let me lay this out for you.
Yes,
First
sir.
of all, if I might suggest, you might be a little too emotional. You might be a little too tied to the Knicks. You said maybe I don't understand because I can't feel your pain. I think the flip side of that coin is you're feeling too much. You're not thinking. You can't even see the handwriting on the wall that Phil Jackson, despite whatever his track record is, has made a brilliant movie. I think your opinion was made up before this day ever started or yesterday started. I think you thought Phil Jackson was bad and could do no right before the trade for Derrick Rose.
If you're thinking about what I'm thinking before I articulate my thoughts,
I was
that's
patient.
a losing proposition altogether, bro. Go ahead.
The reason that he was able to trade for Derrick Rose, for Robin Lopez and a bag of peanuts, is because he missed all those games. You're right. Over 4 years, he's missed an enormous amount of games, and that's why the price was Robin Lopez, Jose Calderon, and Grant. That's why the price was so great. So you can't accept one and discount the other. He came on the cheap because of those injuries. You look to the future. Now that I've impugned your emotions,
You haven't.
I want to defer to you. Mm-hmm. But this is also where you lost the argument. Mm-hmm. You want marquee names? I think Derrick Rose helps. Now, you know better than I. You know these guys. But one of the first things I look up when I see somebody's traded, who are their friends? Who do they like? Guys want to play together. He's there for 1 year. Then he's a free agent. They got $30 million in cap room. Who is he friends with? The first names that came up to me, now granted it was 3 or 4 years ago, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. The upside on Derrick Rose is to do exactly what Stephen A. Smith wants the Knicks to do, to bring a Kevin Durant or a Russell Westbrook to the Knicks. It's not either or, Stephen A. It's both.
First of all, Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose would not play on the same team. If you know anything about basketball, their talent level, they're just...
Accumulate talent. Accumulate talent.
It's not going to happen. You're dreaming. That's number one. Number two, certainly, Derrick Rose got along with a few players. Kevin Durant is one of them. If you know anything about Derrick Rose is an incredibly nice guy. It's hard for anybody to dislike him. I can assure you there's almost no one in the NBA who dislikes him. So that ain't breaking any news there right there. Number three, anybody you accumulate that has talent is going to be something that raises an eyebrow because the New York Knicks have been devoid of much of it for many, many years now. So when you look at it from that perspective, if that's the reason that Phil Jackson acquired a Derrick Rose, then the best argument that you could make, Will, on behalf of Phil Jackson, is that it's not finished yet. Let's see what he does in free agency. That's the best you can do. Because what I'm saying to you is this. No, that's the best you can do. Because what I'm saying to you is Phil Jackson has to be held accountable because of this reason. You are a marquee name. You were brought to the Mecca to attract marquee names. Anybody out there, I can give you guys who are starving for an opportunity to get their first prime executive position who can do the job that Phil Jackson did. If you have a top 4 pick in the draft, they could have drafted Porzingis. If Carmelo Anthony was your free agent, you could have given him $122 million. You could go out there and make a trade for Derrick Rose when you got the Chicago Bulls who are looking to give him away for a bag of chips because of how injury prone he has been, because of how disappointing the last few years have been in Chicago, and how much they've been salivating for a change. And so when you look at it from that perspective, one must ask, Phil Jackson, again, it's not that it's a finite situation where the die has been cast and this is what it is. I am simply saying, I'm looking at Phil Jackson, not saying that he hasn't done anything. I'm saying to you, Phil, what is your number one job description? If Phil Jackson doesn't bring a marquee name, a superstar to New York, that he is doing a job, I can give you at least 7 names off the top of my head, who should be in New York with his title. That's my